Water. It is one of the most essential components of life. All people need and use water daily. But not only people use water, all living things rely on water in some way. That means all plants and animals require this essential liquid. From the smallest insect to the biggest blue whale. So when a water source is affected by pollution, all of the nearby organisms feel the effects. But what exactly is pollution?
It's gas that emits from cars, companies, things like that. It can also be trash and waste into the ocean.
Pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into our environment.
Pollution is basically when people's trash are mixed in with the environment in places that they shouldn't be, and it makes the place look filthy.
Pollution is incredibly injurious to wildlife. It kills sea turtles, it kills seabirds. All the litter pollution going into the ocean that we all know about, the plastics and all that, more than 80% is coming from cities.
The Earth is covered in 70% water. That's a lot, right? Actually, 98% of all water on Earth is too salty for animals to drink and use. Of that small amount of usable water, humans are adding unnatural pollutants. About 80% of these water pollutants are plastic material, which is harmful to aquatic life. Some of the environmental impacts of pollution are:
I think water pollution affects the environment in a way where, there's trash in the water, and that's not good.
I think that water pollution has a very negative impact on the environment, considering a lot of trash and a lot of toxic waste gets dumped into the ocean or small bodies of water, and that usually kills a lot of the wildlife and the animals that live there. So I think it's a very, very big impact.
They cause deformities in fish and other animals in the water. They're generally a lot of them are harmful.
About 9 years ago, that spilled 1 million gallons of crude oil into a tributary of the Kalamazoo River in southern Michigan, which is still the largest inland oil spill in U.S. history. They let that spill go for 17 hours before anyone thought to shut the valve off and close it off.
It's our responsibility as humans to fix the problems we have created on this earth. If we are to combat water pollution, what can we as people do?
Walking more, riding a bike more than using cars.
We can use biodegradable products like paper straws, paper bags, and stuff like that in order to create a much more better environment.
If you got a pet, you've got to pick up after them. That feces washes into the river and the fecal coliforms spike.
What's the best way to deal with pollution? Well, the best way to deal with pollution is to prevent it in the first place. Because once it gets into the water, it spreads out and it becomes, you could think, well, maybe it's not as big of a deal because it spreads out, it becomes very dilute. But we put enough pollution into the waters where it doesn't get dilute enough, but it gets diluted enough so it's very hard to treat.
Then there's plastics and stuff. You want to avoid as much of that as you can. Reusable bags, reusable water bottles.
All it takes is one piece of trash. One piece of trash can be life or death for an animal.
When we experienced the MCHM chemical leak into the Elk River that contaminated the drinking water of Charleston and the 9 counties surrounding area. The effect of that leaky tank was profound. This wasn't the first time we had seen a contamination event, but it was certainly the first time we saw it on this grand of scale and affecting this many people.
There's just something that's hard to quantify when you leave a litter pollution cleanup or a river cleanup working with a bunch of like-minded folks, and you see the bags there and you've kept them out of the ocean, and the turtles that you saved, who knows how many sea turtles, dolphins, whales.